Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. So I thought I'd just hop on today and talk a bit about writing and motivation, and I think self-belief as well. One thing I've noticed quite a lot of, especially during the live streams, is people coming on, they see me write, they see me, I live stream every morning now, my time, which is a natural time for me to do it. And I get so many people from across the world, so many different countries coming on and talking about how they wish they could do it, how they've wanted to motivate themselves for so long, or they don't think they're any good. That is a very common theme that I'm seeing in the live streams. And people need a lot of motivation. And that's one of the reasons why I do the live streams. However, I do think that lately there has been a lack of attention, particularly to the arts and creativity, such as drawing and, painting, writing, anything creative that doesn't necessarily make you money from the beginning. I think that post the pandemic, post, the whole crazy situation about 4 years ago, people have been more motivated to just work themselves to the bone, work themselves to death to earn money, to pay the medical bills, depending on what country you live in. The medical bills might be quite excessive. Just work to pay rents. All the costs have gone up. Rents have gone up. Food have gone up. Inflation is sky high in so many countries. I'm on social media and I see people complaining about so many things across the board. Health issues are up. So there's so many things going on. Now, it might seem trite to suggest this and a rather simple solution. And it's not meant to be a solution, but it's meant to be something that comforts you. Times like this in particular, when life gets tough, life gets too chaotic, too loud, too aggressive, too just uncomfortable, this is where you should really lean into your creativity, because sometimes your creativity is what will pull you out of that despair and pull you out of that dark hole that you're in. One thing I'm seeing a lot of is people telling me how depressed they've become, how anxious they've become. And when I ask them what they do, they focus solely on exercise. I think exercise is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I try to exercise myself. I try as much as I can to run, to cycle. I'm not very good at the running part of it, but I do like cycling once. When I get on my bicycle, I like roller skating. I have all these little hobbies, but sometimes you need to have a creative outlet, and a creative outlet could be anything. It doesn't have to be writing. It could be like sitting, at your desk and painting rocks, making jewelry out of seashells. All sorts of things could present as a creative outlet. However, I will talk more about writing because I have writing live streams and more people approach me about writing. I get so many messages, so many chats, and so many people saying that they wish. And I think one thing the last few years should have taught so many of us is you don't want to get into a position of saying you wish you'd done it. You wish, because all around you, what you're going to find is a lot of people working on their dreams very steadily and very consistently. And that's usually how you get where you need to go. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. You're not going to write a book overnight. You could do if you want, but in my opinion, it's more likely to be garbage. It's not going to be well written. It's not going to be well presented. It's just going to be very rushed ideas, rushed plots, and just rushed. Sometimes books take time to grow. You take time to get to know the characters, and you take time to develop the characters as well. So when you write a book or you're working on a story, you have to get, it's like a relationship. It's like a real life relationship with a partner or a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, parent. You have to get to know the person, and you have to get to know the character, and then you can develop that character so they become very well-rounded, and they become, in a way, very close to reality as well. Even if you're writing, working on genres such as fantasy or science fiction. So you're never going to write a book overnight. And the reason why I say this is that perhaps you should use writing as a comfort, where you have, a space in your flat or your room, whatever you have, whether you're a university student in a dorm room, wherever you are, you just have that space where you come home to, and you have a little writing nook where you can sit at and just unleash your creativity. Now, this is my little writing nook. I first had this set up as soon as I moved in to this flat. This was the first space I created. I just got a standard table, a very ugly chair from IKEA. I have a lot of my writings on the wall, things I've written over the years. I have my books there as well, some of my books. And I have all my writing paraphernalia around the desk. And the reason this was very important to me to do was because I knew I would need this to be consistent, and I knew I would need this for my productivity to continue. But most importantly, I knew that I would need the space as a comfort, somewhere I could come to and just sit at and just pull out a pen, get some paper, and just write. And over the course of 6 months, 7 months, perhaps a year, you can write a couple books, maybe more if you're really, really fast-paced and you have nothing else going on. But first and foremost, if you want to be consistent in your writing and you actually do want to write, I would say try and carve out a space. You don't need it to be a huge space. I mean, I've previously had rooms that were just writing rooms in my past, in my previous places. This is a much smaller flat than I am accustomed to. So right now I just have it in a little corner. I've got a window overlooking the city. I'll do a little tour of my writing desk at some point. But I've got a window, I've got huge windows overlooking the city. And it's great for me because I have just a good escape. Ideally, I would like to have a little wall around it, but that's not going to work right now. But that's great because I have a space to come home to and just unleash my creativity. So my advice to the people who feel a bit lost in the writing, they want to write, they feel their ideas are perhaps not good enough. I would tell you that every idea I've ever had, I've written. Right? Every idea I've ever had, I've written. So if we look at my Dwellers Beneath the Arches series, I got that idea when I was a kid. That came to me. I was sitting in the garden in Nigeria. It popped into my head and I worked on it. I worked on it as a child, but then I abandoned it. I put it away and I worked on other projects and other little short stories because I was trying to I didn't think I was a good fantasy writer as a kid. And then I picked it up again as an adult and I looked at it and I read it and I thought, actually, this is a fantastic idea. But what it needs to be brought several years forward, and I need to just change several things. I need to change the very childlike aspects of it and put in more realistic scenarios. And then I also wanted to make it darker because originally when I wrote the Dwellers Beneath the Arches, it was a pure fantasy series, just pure fantasy, no dark elements whatsoever. It was very sweet and very happy, and as a child, everything's happy and pure and golden and just happy fantasy land. But we all know no one wants to read a happy fantasy. And the whole point of fantasy is we like the darkness, we like the malevolence, we like the struggle between good and evil. That's what keeps us on the edge of our seats, right? So all I did was tweak it because a lot of the original characters are still there, but I've changed, even the teenagers, the three friends, I changed a lot of things about them. So I would say give all your ideas a chance. Write all your ideas down, no matter how ridiculous they may seem, because there'll be someone out there who wants to read your story. Give your stories a chance. And what I would always say is always have a pen and paper, a little notepad, where you have all your ideas. You put all your ideas down as soon as you get them. This is what I always do. Get all your ideas down there, write them down. You don't have to have a whole synopsis. Just write 5 lines. Or if a name pops into your head, write the name down. If a character pops into your head or you see something that inspires you, write it down. And then come back to it. Because all these little hints and signals and signs you get through the day, and in your working life and as you move along in life, will inspire you to create that character even further, and they just give you little hints and tips that can build up to the most amazing characters. So I would say get a writing nook first of all. Have a little space where you can just come down, a dedicated space. No matter how small your space is, even if you're living in a vehicle. I've done the whole, I've lived in a van for a while and it was amazing, but I always had a little space to work at. It was very, very important to me. I always had my pens and paper ready, my laptop's ready, everything was always ready. And then second piece of advice is write everything down, because you never know when certain ideas are going to become amazing ideas and you can build on them. Like I said previously, every idea I've had, I've never ditched an idea. I've just come back to work on them even more and put more of my life experience into them. Lastly, because I'm sort of losing daylight, the last thing I would say is have some faith in yourself. I know it's hard, and it's harder trying to be creative and juggling jobs and everything else, but just have that little bit of faith in yourself, because that is what will pull you through. And I think that if the urge to write is very, very great, it's very strong, you feel you need to do it, just do it. Don't think about it, don't think about selling books, don't think about how you're going to make a profit or marketing. Just get to writing, just get to putting your words down on paper and get to just getting all your thoughts out. And you will not regret it, because I was encouraged from a very early age just to, you want to write? Go ahead. You want to draw? Go ahead. You want to sketch? Go ahead. Whatever I wanted to do that was creative, go ahead, just do it. And that sort of led me more towards writing, because when I was younger, believe it or not, I was really, really good at sketching and artwork. I was really good at, creating all these characters, and somehow I fed more into writing, and I realized I just loved writing a lot more because I could just do it easily, whilst with drawing and sketching it was a lot more work, and I wasn't as in love with it, but I just fell in love with writing. So I think just give yourself a chance and try it, and just go with maybe 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, and go from there, and I promise you will not regret it, because there's so many amazing stories out there, especially from authors who have not yet been discovered, and I think that perhaps your story could be one of those stories, but you just have to keep going, you can't stop. I hope this is good motivation for those people who've been sort of wondering about what to do next and trying to get ideas. You just have to write, you just have to get over it and write and deal with the imposter syndrome later on. Okay, so I will see you in the next live stream. I'm doing daily live streams at the moment, and then I will also see you in the next video. Bye.